Hello and welcome to this month's edition of the Car Talk podcast, where, as ever, we talk about the latest news and transportational opinion, for which this month there is a lot of. We've got a lot to talk about this month. Joining me, as usual, is Bailey Prickett from the Grantine. How are you this month, Bailey?
Very well, Fatty, actually. How are you?
I'm very good, as usual. The answer is the same old, but you... It's not the same old. You've been to Scotland for some important business.
I have indeed, yes.
Yes.
Scotland road trip with Harry, who we've had on the podcast, obviously. And it was obviously meant to be a holiday, but we did film for the Grantine whilst we're there. And, mate, it was just amazing. The scenery was just incredible.
I've seen some sneak previews, and it is...
You have.
Yeah. It's very good. Well, you don't even need to see the sneak previews. You just need to know Scotland, not like the likes of Dundee or anywhere like that, but the proper bits. You'll be able to see nice scenery and nice roads, drone shots, and it's coming out quite soon, isn't it? That one. It's not part of the new season.
No, it's not. It's kind of a one-off special. But in fact, Matty, I was obviously recording this sort of mid-September, but. This will probably go out after the video is released. So the video is probably released now. So if you haven't already, check it out.
You can see those roads just like I have. Now, before we go any further, and before we even discuss our theme and go into the news, this week, me and Bailey here on the Car Talk podcast, we have to make an address to the audience.
Yes.
Now, not only have we been accused of having no viewers, we've got low viewers, but we haven't got no viewers. Oh. We've been accused of sexism on the Car Talk podcast, which is simply not true.
It is not true.
Yes, there's comedy, as Bailey has pointed out, and I think this has all stemmed from the fact that we still... I stand by this. We haven't had a female guest on the podcast as of yet.
No, we haven't.
And I think that is why we're being accused of sexism.
But Matty, that seems like it's going to change soon. Well, hopefully.
Well, let's hope so, because the email address for you to email if you are a woman is still open, and it is, I'm a woman, and I'd like to be on your Car Talk podcast, or whatever it was. You can email that, because... Thus far, we have invited onto the podcast the lady from Driven 24/7. She's very nice, very polite. Politely said, "Can you call me another time?" And we said yes. Rebecca Jackson from Car Buyer, obviously, and most recently Lucy Brown from Drive Tribe. Very happy to post on Instagram, but not happy to reply to my email. So we are not being intentionally sexist. This is all, well, basically, it's all the women's fault because they haven't wanted to come on the podcast.
We've been basically, yes.
Yes. So that's that cleared up. But for this week's theme, we are touching a nerve, rather like we have with one of our female viewers recently on the podcast, the one who said that we've got none. But we'll move on. This month for our theme, we are touching a nerve because we are asking an almost unanswerable question, and that is, what would we replace our beloved cars with?
Well, nothing. It's
going to be a hard one. Well, yeah. I hope you've got some answers. Otherwise, we won't have a proper podcast. But it is a hard question. It's like someone saying to you, "Well, you can only keep either potatoes or bread. Which is it going to be?" And I don't think I could choose.
No, I don't think I could either. I mean, I have spent a total of 5 minutes writing the answers down, Matty. But nevertheless, we'll discuss that later, I'm sure.
We certainly will. We're going to have 4 scenarios later on in the podcast, each of which is a different scenario for having to get rid of our cars, and we have different answers for each one of them. So do stay with us for that. But for now, car news. A lot of car news this week.
A lot.
I think you'll agree, Bailey. What have I got here? Fuel shortages.
Yes.
climate protests. Would you like to start with your first news story?
I would like to start with climate protests because I've also put that down as well, Matty.
Very good.
And being near the M25, I actually experienced being in a traffic jam today on the M25. And I just think it is just outrageous because I understand their point of view. You know, they want to save the polar bears and become vegan and eat leaves and things. But like the way they're doing it is literally like contradicting what they're meant to do, what they're there for. So they're stopping traffic, which is polluting even more.
Yeah.
And also, what's not on either is actually, you know, there's a whole thing about someone had a stroke in one of the traffic jams, and obviously there's a certain amount of time to get them to hospital, but they were there for about 6 hours, and I think they became paralysed from that, all because of these stupid people.
There's I mean, I can say this, but if I say it, I think I'll get cancelled and we'll get even more complaints. But yeah, there is a lot of anger, and I live nowhere near the M25, but I am very angry about this. I just think it's completely the wrong way to go about things, and also their argument is, well, you know, you've got to be sort of disruptive and things like that to do these, you know, to gain attention and to do these sort of things. But you know, there's headquarters and things like that where the people who make the whole decisions and that is where they are based. Go there. You know, exactly. When there was all sorts of you know, protests about you know, tobacco laws and things back way back when, they literally disrupted and interrupted and, you know, really gave a hard time to the people who were part of the tobacco companies. They were storming their headquarters, and to be honest, I think they got some results, but that's what you do. So I don't think you're going to get anybody on side by completely ruining people's commutes.
Exactly, and it's just annoying people.
Thus causing more emissions. Yeah.
I mean, also, like, I saw a video on TikTok as well about this, and there was literally someone holding their horn at these protests, and they were literally blocking the junction, and one of the cars was like a Golf E, so it was electric, so they're blocking what they're literally trying to show. It's just idiotic. Yeah,
it's unbelievable, and my dad has told me off for just sort of assuming that all these people are hippies. But I did see the climate protests last year in the centre of London. They all looked pretty dreadlocky to me.
Yeah.
And then I seen the line of people glued to the floor. And again, they all looked a little bit sort of, you know, hippie-esque. So I'm not casting aspersions, but I think you're absolutely right. I think these people probably are free spirits, don't feel the need that they have to work like the rest of us.
Yeah.
That sort of thing, you know. Yeah, I think it is. I could be wrong about some of them. But yeah, have you ever seen the clip of the One Show when Jeremy Clarkson was on it, and he's saying that he'd have all the people shot?
Yeah, I think I have seen that, yeah.
For going on strike. Yeah, just to let the viewers and listeners know, that is definitely not what I think should happen to these climate change protesters. I do actually have a solution as well to help them, Bailey.
Go on.
You know, I think there's only one person or one company actually that can sort of satisfy the needs of these climate protesters, and it is Citroen.
Go on.
You'll have to edit the sort of gap out there, I reckon, because I wanted it to be a bit more dramatic than that. But anyway, this is where he doesn't edit it out, isn't it? But yes, it's Citroen. Citroen are here to answer the needs of these climate protesters on the M25 this month, because they are bringing their electric Citroen Ami to the UK.
Yay. I mean, I actually...
Don't you like the Citroen Ami?
Okay, hear me out a second, right? I've had this. I wrote this down earlier because I wanted to discuss this.
Yeah.
I just don't like it. I just don't. I'm trying myself to like it, but I just don't.
Like it.
I know you probably do. I know Daniel likes it, and I know it's quite controversial that I don't like it. But it's
Daniel's registered his interest to buy it.
Has he
Daniel
actually?
Lackhouse. He has.
Interesting. I mean, for me, it looks like they've got a Citroen Cactus C4, and they were like, let's make a new car. But instead of actually making a new car, let's go and get 2 bulldozers and drive it into the Citroen C4 Picasso Cactus thing, and then that's the new car. That's personally what I think it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, but it's really cool.
It's a good idea. Like a
space buggy.
It's a good idea, but I'm just not interested. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I'm just not.
Wow. I thought that we were gonna proper, bond there. That me and Bailey, but there's obviously been a little bit of a disagreement. But anyway, for those who do care, such as Daniel and other people, the Citroen Ami has been confirmed that it's coming from the UK to the UK. Should be priced for around £6,000, quite cheap.
So I could get my Mazda and mods for the same price as that car.
Yes, I know, but it's a Citroen Ami. So this is basically it's alternative transport, and I think it will be able to be driven by under 17s.
Oh, God.
So what you're gonna have is just think all the chavs and that in the park. They're not gonna be setting fire to the basket swings. They're not gonna be playing knock a door dash. All that sort of things. They're gonna be drifting round children's play parks in their Citroen Amis on 2 wheels. It's gonna be great.
You make it sound like it's a good thing.
Well, no, I'm just saying that antisocial behaviour is gonna be replaced by
more antisocial behaviour.
Well, I don't think it's antisocial behaviour. Well, actually, it's £6,000, so the chavs that you see drifting Citroen Amis are probably have stolen. But
yeah,
I've got a lot of time for the Citroen Ami, and I can't justify it, but I've got a lot of time for it.
Don't get me wrong, I would like to try it out. I'd like to give it a go.
Yeah,
and
I really
have a drive,
because I really would.
My opinion probably would change on it.
And if Daniel Lackhouse gets one, I will be asking him if I can come and drive it.
That'd be hilarious if he gets one. Do you think you'll get it over the Panda? That's the question for him. But,
well, the Panda belongs to someone else.
Is it?
His mum and dad, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It's not his car, yeah.
I thought they were going to pass it down, but I might be
Should
wrong.
we ring him up and get him on very briefly just to No, it doesn't matter.
I don't have his number. But, can I talk about a new Maserati?
Yes, let's get back to cars, not climate change.
Or electric boxes.
Yes.
So I've read somewhere that there's a new Maserati SUV, Matty.
Okay.
And it's called
a car then?
No, not really. But it's called the Maserati Greycool. Greycool? I don't know.
Greco?
Probably. It's spelled Grecale. And a fun fact that Maserati planning boss Francesco Donon says the most practical in its class, but will also be luxurious. It will feature the best in-class design and features, and also the best in-class performance and handling. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know, because I haven't really seen. There's not many pictures of it. It's only just been spotted.
Yeah, it's wrapped, isn't it?
Yeah, one of those wrap things to hide the design. But
the headlights look a bit like a Ferrari California.
It does a little bit. I mean, I think it's built on a similar chassis to the Stelvio, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio. So it could
famously known for being the best handling car in its class.
that's what I find funny. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like they're kind of taken from Alfa Romeo there, but time will tell about that one. Looks alright though.
It certainly will. I went on the internet this week, and I found something. I found a website.
What website?
Now this is I didn't just find it, to be fair. I heard an advert on the radio for this website, and I thought, being in the industry that I'm in, used cars. I thought I'd best check this out because it's the competition, basically. We've all heard of Kazoo and their lovely catchy adverts. We've all seen that guy from Ready Steady Cook doing the Cinch adverts. But now there is another website for you to buy a used car entirely online, allegedly. And I thought, God, another one, I best check this out. And it's called Spoticar. And that's actually how you say it, because on the radio it was going... the Traffic and Travel, sponsored by Spoticar.
Spoticar.
And Spoticar. Not Sporty Car, Spotty.
So it's almost
car.
like Spotify.
Yes, I think that's the vibe we've gone for. So I'm expecting to almost feel like, once again, the used car forecourt will be put out of business.
Will it every week, if it's like Spotify, will it every week recommend you a car that you like based on the cars that you've looked at on the app? That'd be a good idea.
It might do, but for what I'm about to tell you, there won't be any cars that you like on there at all.
God.
So this Spoticar website, I went onto it. It turns out that this is a website that is owned by Stellantis. So it's basically a compilation all on one website of all of the worst cars that are currently produced that we both hate. So you've got Vauxhall, all your used Vauxhalls across the UK, so 10,974 Vauxhalls, Citroën, which, you know, I am partial to Citroën, but not entirely, Peugeot, and I think that's it actually, but I think Fiat and the others will be joining them soon, but it is mostly Vauxhall, Fiat, Peugeot, all on there.
Yeah.
The internet just was not made for this.
No.
And there's certainly other websites that I would rather be on right now. So I think we should move on.
Matty, you know the new Lotus Emira that was announced this start of this year, sort of, summer.
Yes.
Well, I've finally
Gorgeous
got...
car.
I actually really like the look of it. I saw it in person at Goodwood. And I think I mentioned it a few podcasts ago. It looks fantastic. It actually reminds me quite a lot of the new Maserati MT20, which is obviously the predecessor to the MC12. And so I had a look today, and we finally got a price for it. This is the first edition trim. Can you have a guess? Do you want to have a guess what the price of it is?
Ooh, okay. If it's going to be high, isn't it? So
I was surprised.
£112,000, something like that.
Nope, it's a bit lower than that.
Oh, okay. I've been a bit pie in the sky there because I thought it was going to be extortionate. What is it?
So it is £75,995, which actually, Matty,
bargain?
It's all right.
Yeah,
it's all right. It's actually, isn't it?
That's pretty achievable.
Don't get me wrong. That's still a lot of money for anything, but that, like you said, it's quite achievable, and I'd imagine you get quite a lot of car out of it. I mean, think of the technology in there. So you could get that or a Range Rover, a brand new one. And I'd rather have the Lotus.
And of course, it's Maserati owned by Stellantis, so you will soon be able to get your new Maserati MC20 on Spoticar.
I'm pretty sure that'll be in 20 years or so, but yes.
Yes. At your local Lookers Maserati. Can we move on to something less interesting than the new Maserati? Well, first of all, quick headline: convertible Fiat 500X Dolce Vita confirmed for the UK market.
I'm not interested.
There we go. If anybody is interested, the open-top version of the Fiat 500X crossover has a roof that can open in 15 seconds flat.
It's funny, Matty, because on our collab video, Grand Team collab video, we could show that we could get a roof down in, I don't know, what was it, under 10 seconds, and do a lap of the track in
and
under
these
a
are
minute.
cars that are much older than the new Fiat
Exactly.
500X Dolce Vita.
So what we've established, Matty, is get an older car, which is what you should do at any point in your life.
Well, yeah, I think there's a sort of pattern emerging here that, most of our not interested segments really revolve around Fiat 500 special editions and Peugeots and things. They're just two companies that, on the whole, you really should stay away from.
And I had a thought, Matty, as well, actually.
Go on.
I know this is going to sound really outrageous, but so I was thinking earlier on, I was like, I love doing this podcast. Don't get me wrong, that the podcast is amazing to do every month, and I enjoy speaking to you about car news and stuff. But we, out of our lifetimes, we couldn't have picked the worst time, more of a worse time to do it, because all the cars we're talking about are just batteries and just not really that interesting to. I mean, some of them, don't get me wrong, have been great to talk about, but like for example, the Fiats and the Peugeots and all this stuff, it's just, I just don't care.
It really is a strange time because I don't know, cars are just it's been a good month for car news this week purely because of some climate protesters and a fuel shortage, because other than that it's just like, for example, you see all the car news is of late and the past few years since the whole EV thing's come in is that the new smart SUV is coming. We made a joke about that. A few weeks later, it's the new smart SUV is here, and it looks as dreadful as it did in the mock-up photos. So, really, viewers and listeners, you have to just rely on our, comedy and wit with these podcasts, because it is hard graft.
Which
with
is
the
purely
news.
why we do it, because if we've just let's just pretend that we're doing a normal podcast and that we're really interesting because we're talking about all the facts. So, Matty, today I had a look at the new Lotus, and it costs £80,000.
Okay.
Have you got any news?
Well, yes. Just to literally read you the news, new 2022 Dacia Jogger handed first public showing at Munich. 7-seater replacement for the Docker, Logi and Logan MCV was presented at the firm's Lake stand.
It's very interesting, Matty. The Maserati I still don't know how you say it, but the new SUV Maserati. And I've got an interesting fact from the global planning boss, and he says the most practical in its class, but also the most luxurious. So that is the Car Talk podcast. We do. See what I mean? It wouldn't be very interesting if we were just talking about
it really would,
backs.
and I would like to talk about what I think about the Dacia Jogger in a comedic way.
Go on.
The Dacia Jogger looks like a wardrobe with a hunchback. I'm seeing it here with this horrible orangey brown paint scheme. And typically, I'm very, very open-minded and accepting about everything Dacia do. Just like the Citroen Ami, I've got a lot of time for Dacia. But this, I can just imagine it being on the mobility scheme, being driven by 84-year-old people for whom it is way too big for. It's going to be coming into my dealership off the transporters with parking scrapes, dints, everything hanging off, full of dog hair and stinky cigarette bloody butts all over the place. It's a horrible 7-seater. I'd much rather have a C4 Picasso, and I really hope it would jogger on.
Well, and we're off the air in Romania.
Thank you.
I haven't got any more car news. I don't know if you have, Matty.
Well, just very quickly, because I'm not sure when this podcast is going out. Obviously, near the end of the month now. But are you worried, very quickly, Bailey, before we go on to our theme, are you worried about this fuel crisis in quotation marks?
You know what, Matty? I mean, my dad mentioned it to me earlier on. I was like, what? I didn't read this. I thought it was just because I read somewhere that it was a fuel shortage, but I thought that was for lorries, so like diesel and stuff. But I didn't think it was
No,
because
Bailey,
the lorry
we've,
drivers couldn't
yeah,
bring it
no,
over.
we do have cars in this country that run on diesel.
I know
so-
that, but my car doesn't.
Oh,
So I don't care if it is diesel or not. But
yeah.
now that I found out it's petrol, I'm just like, oh, damn. And it's even harder to find petrol in my car because I can only put E5 in. So it's like, bugger.
Yeah,
But I'm hoping it will be okay in a few days.
let's hope so. Anyway, on to good session for the news there. Like, I mean,
Yeah, it was really good, yeah.
you know, and you've had it both in boring mode and comedy and sexist mode. So
Yeah, which is your favourite? Let us know in the comments or email us at the Grand Team.
Yeah, and Lucy Brown, please get back to me.
Please.
Yes. We best move on to our theme for this week if there's anybody else who's still listening. We've got a question to ask, really, and it's what would we replace our cars with should we have to get rid of them now? If I just asked this question on a general basis, Bailey would say his answer and it would be something sporty and fast. My answer would be a Vauxhall Nova. So really, we've got to sort of
Spice
make
it
it a little... Yeah, spice it up, make it a little bit more cunning and add a little bit of criteria, which is why I've devised 4 rounds here, of which for each round we've got to give a different answer dependent on this scenario as to what we'd replace our car with if we really had to.
Yes.
So, are you ready, Bailey?
I am indeed ready.
Okay, so our first round is the write-off round. This is where, God forbid, one of our beloved cars has been written off, or both of them have been written off, and you have to get to work the next morning. So basically, you need a car and you need it now. It has to be one that is readily available for you to just go and pick up. What would you have?
And this is an interesting one, Matty. And I chose either my old car or the newer version of my old car. So the Seat
Good
Ibiza.
choices.
Just because I know how it drives and I know all the ins and outs of it. I had it for 2 years. I know it's a reliable car and it can get me to work there and back with no problems. And it's all right to drive. And it's fairly cheap. So that's what I would say.
They are good to drive, and that's a good sort of route to go down, really, isn't it? Just going with what you know.
But I definitely, if I had to choose, I'd say the newer one. But I don't know if there's like a price gap or whatever in terms of.
Well, no, you can have what you want. You've just sort of got to be able to get it, sort of thing. So I guess there is a price thing, but I don't know. The rules are they can be bent. The rules.
So I'd say a new one then.
Yeah, go on then. Say that. I'll let you. For my choice, so look, I was thinking, right, if my Saxo got written off tomorrow and I had to go out straight away and buy a new car, I would, sort of ideally lean towards another old car, but it would take me a while to buy one of them because I would want to buy the right one. So when I'm thinking of my answers, I'm going, no, Matty, go modern. So I'm thinking, well, I drive a lot of modern cars for work, so I'm thinking, well, what do I like? Three came to mind. It's not the best driving car in the world, but I do like the old Volvo C30s.
Nice.
Quite cheap as well to buy privately, especially the very early ones. And sticking with like really tiny, small, tinny cars, which I love. The Mark 1 Toyota Aygo, I think, is a great car and it drives really well as well. This is also a strange one because, Lewis Mackland, who we've had on the show from Mackland's Motors, he used to have a Toyota Aygo and he currently has an MG3. And the MG3 is also on my list. I've driven loads of them. I think they're great cars. A little bit sort of different and alternative, but modern and reliable. So those are my 3, but I think it's between the Volvo and the Aygo.
Which one are you more set on?
My heart says the Aygo, because it's small and, you know, revvy and just a little shithead, basically, which is sort of what my Saxo is, if I'm being sort of, you know, it's an old car that's cheap.
Yeah.
But my head says, oh no, get the Volvo. It'll be more reliable, but you know, it probably would be just as reliable as the Toyota, really.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one, but it's actually making me sad because I really don't want my car to get written off, because I would have to buy something like that, and I don't want to.
I mean, it's some, you know, I do miss my Seat actually at some points, just because of
it's your first car, isn't it? You always do.
And you bond with it, and also, you know, just because of like all the modern stuff on it. Like, you know, my car's great and it's a pure driving experience, but like,
yeah,
I just wish like some of the things worked. Do you know what I mean?
You wish you had a cup holder.
Yeah, a cup holder that's not in the way of a gearbox. And you know, like actual good speakers in the speakers are right in my Mazda, but the Seat's one were actually pretty good. There's a
video there.
Yeah,
there's a video there for you to do, upgrading the speakers on my Mazda MX-5 Unos.
That is a good idea.
Don't you reckon?
I might have to do that.
I done it on my Saxo, but mate, I'd have to take a good few weeks off work when my Saxo finally goes, because I'll be that distraught.
Bless.
That's a joke, by the way, but I will be grieving very, very heavily if my Saxo goes. We're about to get just depressing again with our next round. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
This is the wear out round. So your car has been judged as uneconomical to repair, or it is going wrong too often. It's getting a little bit too unreliable, and you've sort of, by hook or by crook, sort of having to accept that it's maybe time to move on to another car. Now this really, I mean, without sort of going sort of too unrealistic, this is basically what you'd have, a car that you'd have if you didn't have your MX-5, and basically a car you'd pick as well, but obviously your previous is gone, so you just pick one of these. What would you have?
Am I allowed to say a new MX-5?
You can, but you've said that. Is that going to be your answer for every question?
No, it's not. that's the only MX-5 in these answers, and that's the new one. Or I would have a
Mark II MX-5.
No, I would have a Toyota GR Yaris, actually. If I was
that's a very good idea. I should have thought of that.
I would love to have this. Would be like a really sort of dream to have. I'd have to have my MX-5 that I got at the moment, and also a GR Yaris as my like daily car. But the only thing with the GR Yaris, they're like 40 grand, and I could get a V8 R8 for that.
Look, it's cheaper to buy a GR Yaris new and stay on the waiting list than buy one used at the moment and have no waiting time at all.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Same with the new Porsche Macan.
I might have to do that.
It's cheaper to buy a used new one than buy... it's cheaper to buy a new one from Porsche than buy a brand new one that's used.
Yeah, like gone to the garages and that,
yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that would be what I'd say, probably GR Yaris if I didn't choose the MX-5. But I always wanted to drive a brand new one, a new MX-5, because, you know, I love them. So
I was thinking about this. It's a pretty hard one, really. I really don't know, if you asked me, like, truly what I would buy as a car next. So I'm sort of scratching my head and going, well, okay, I like Alfa Romeos. I've always said I'd like an Alfa Romeo at one point.
Yeah.
Not really, I like the modern ones, but I thought, well, if I'm going to get a new car, if I'm saying, okay, my Saxo's going, I'm going to treat myself to a new car, it would probably be sort of the 156 and 147 era. I don't really know what I go for. I quite like the Spider, the old Spider, sort of early noughties Spider, as I'm young, I can have cars like that.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I don't know if I'm getting old, because I don't know if I'm growing out of my sort of small car love. because I drove a old Ford Mondeo with me mates up to the lakes on holiday or camping, basically. And I borrowed that car from work. Diesel automatic, nice leather seats, wood interior. Quite sort of, well, old man. Not old man, but, mature, should we say. It was like a company car from...
It's like a mature wine type
early
thing.
2000s sort of fleet car. It had all the toys, heated and cooled seats and that, and it was a nice big bus that you could just sort of drive and munch up the miles in. So I thought, do you know what, I was driving it and I went, do you know what, I wouldn't mind one of these. It's a lot more sort of refined than my Saxo, a lot easier to drive despite how big it was. And I'm going, Jesus, I'm getting old, I need to get back in my Saxo and get back to my youth.
Well, it's like when I drove my mum's Mercedes C-Class estate. It's like I felt the exact same. It's a much bigger car, but just driving it is just so easy. It's a breeze. You could just literally sit there and have a joint.
Is it automatic as well?
Yeah, it's automatic. Yeah,
have a joint.
It's like when Jeremy said, "Is it easy sitting here?" It's easier actually. You're not being filmed. You have a joint.
Have a joint.
It's like that. It is literally like that driving my mum's car. It's just you just chill and you just sort of listen to some music and that. But
I like the Mondeo as well. I like the image that it gives off. I think I don't know anybody who I don't like that's got a Mondeo, but I know lots of people who've got an Audi A4 who I don't like. They're very humble cars, and I think it's a nice image of yourself to portray that, yes, he's got a Mondeo, he's a Mondeo man.
Yeah.
Cool guy. Well, are you ready for the next round?
I am indeed. I think I've got a good one for this.
Good. Yours will be a lot easier to say than mine, because I don't know, because this is the like-for-like round. So just for a bit of fun, we're saying, well, yes, you've got to get rid of your Mazda MX-5, but what would you buy if you had to only buy an alternative car from the same brand? So you have to have another Mazda. I have to have another Citroen, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I'll go first basically because as you will know, viewers, I love Citroen, but I love the old Citroen. The new Citroen, I like the new Citroen C4, but again, very modern, very big, very... I don't like Citroen at the moment. I think they're going through a bit of a sort of boring patch, apart from the C4.
I mean, most of their lifetime was pretty boring, but continue.
Yeah, ever since the Saxo basically stopped and all the C cars came out, it's just got worse and worse and worse. It's got slightly better recently, but not enough for me to go and pay 17 grand for a new C3 or whatever. So
yeah.
Basically, boys and girls, not sexist, I've got to buy another old Citroen. I can't have a Zara Picasso because my dad said, that's not a good car for a young driver. You should get something else. So it's gonna have to be a Citroen AX, which I know is a sort of typical Matty answer.
Yeah.
But I like old Citroens like the CX and the 2CV, but the most sort of honest answer I can give you is a nice Citroen, or a Citroen Zara, or an AX, basically.
Yeah.
A nice old Citroen from when they were at their best.
Yeah, I agree. That's quite a good choice, I reckon.
Such a hard question, though.
Well, this one was easier for me because...
what's the answer? I'm willing to know.
The answer
I'm sure
is...
I can guess.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, have a guess. It's not an MX-5.
It's not an MX-5, okay. The Mazda Fury.
No.
Oh.
The RX-7.
You'd have an RX-7?
I would.
Would you?
I would have an RX-7. I mean, they're just sick. To put it in the slang that would go along with the car, it's sick because... I've seen loads of videos of like people modding them, and it is, it's quite cool. That's the sort of thing I would do if I had that car. I know the whole rotary engine and the unreliability of that, but
the wanker engine. Yeah. Sorry, wankle. Yeah,
the wanker engine. But yeah, I just think they're really cool cars. The RX-8, I like, but I don't like it as much as the RX-7. It's not as classic. And you got the pop-up headlights with the RX-7, so I get a bit of MX-5 in there as well.
MX-5 sort of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Finally, it's time for the best round, I think, because I've had a little bit of fun with this one. This is the upgrade round, where, within reason, you know, it's just your sort of next step up that you can go for. You get to upgrade your car. So, yes, the Citroen Saxo and the Mazda MX-5, you're going to have to get rid of them. But that is old news. You've now got the money that you've got to upgrade very slightly, or in my case a lot, on your car that you have had previously. Bailey, what would you go for? Within reason, of course.
I would go for a Nissan Skyline.
Wow.
Yes. Because it's kind of, I mean, it's not really an upgrade from, I mean, it's a big upgrade from my MX-5, but it's in the same sort of class, car class, you know, JDM stuff. And as you know, I'm really into JDM stuff, because when I got my MX-5, I was like, yeah, I like JDM. I didn't really look into it, and now I love it.
Yeah.
So that would be my choice, and it's a very cool car. I just like the classic sort of. It's very minimalist, the Skylines, especially the R32, which is the one I'd get, the very first one.
Yeah. I know you're a big fan of them, to be fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I would get for that round.
Yeah. So can I have 2 for my upgrade?
Yeah. I mean,
because I think I'm allowed, because, you know, sort of any car would be an upgrade on mine, and that's not being like cruel. I mean, like, price wise, you know, a Corsa would be an upgrade. In fact, no, not a Corsa. But yeah, I'd have for my, and this is my sensible upgrade. But I'd have a Scirocco, a nice petrol automatic one. Firstly, because they really are an upgrade. You know, they're very expensive, even the used ones, because they don't make them anymore. Still dead expensive. A nice petrol automatic, because I pull up next to people in Scirocco's and I think, yeah, they've smashed it. They can afford the, you know, lofty prices of a Scirocco. And they're not cheap to run either, but I think they're really, really nice cars. Yes, they're perhaps a Golf in drag, but you know, I like them.
I agree.
But that's me boring upgrade, me real upgrade that I would have, and this is true actually. This is a car that I'd have if me Saxo went, and it is the Smart Roadster. Smart
Roadster. Oh yeah, I know the one you mean. Yeah.
Remember them? You could get the hard top one and or not the hard top, was the hatchback one and the other one. But I'd have the original one, the proper Roadster.
Yeah.
You know, can Smart just stop releasing stupid shrunken SUVs and sort of make that again? You know, apparently they're trying to relaunch the brand and they keep failing. Maybe they should just release that and everyone would go like mad for it.
Yeah. I mean, like an updated one. Yeah, that'd be a good shout.
So there we go. There's our 4 rounds of this week's theme, which is basically if God forbid we had to get rid of either of our amazing cars. Bailey, I'm going to let you do the outro because you're very good at it.
Am I?
Yes.
I say that as a compliment. Thanks.
Okay.
Well, in that case, thank you for listening and watching the podcast as usual. This is the 11th now, Matty. So next month will be our year anniversary. So we got a special one lined up then.
We have, and after our year anniversary as well, we've got a few new sort of features and formats to bring into our podcast to keep it fresh.
Exactly, a new season type thing, basically.
Yes, it is.
But on that note, we do hope you enjoyed, as I said, and make sure you subscribe to us, so the Grand Teen on this channel, and then Matty from Matty's Cars. Matty, do you want to say your Instagrams?
Yes, you can follow me on Instagram, Matty's Cars YT, for notifications of my latest YouTube videos, some car spots among other things. And you can also follow my personal Instagram if you're that way inclined. Matty's Cars, no it's not, it's what is it, Matsgram99.
Yeah.
If you want to see pictures of me in, nightclubs and that, or cardboard joints in my mouth and things like that. So yeah, there we go.
Excellent. And yeah, as Matty said, also follow us on Instagram. We have a Grand Teen Instagram. I also have an Instagram for my car, my little Mazda, which I named Blue.
Oh yes,
Blue the
shout it
Miata.
out.
So that's, if you want to follow that, I'd post just like loads of photography photos of it every now and then. And at the moment, quite often, because obviously I've been from Scotland, I'm posting various pictures that I've taken up there with nice scenery. So follow that if you're interested. And yeah.
And of course, if you're a woman, you know what to do.
Exactly, yes.
Join us. Be a guest. Clear our name. Yes.
Well, Matty, it's been great. Thanks for coming on as usual. And we'll see you next time.